Hello everybody and welcome to Late Night with Monica Price. I'm delighted to say that I have internationally acclaimed artist all the way from Barbados this evening that's joining me. Please welcome Janice Sylvia Brock. Hello Janice.
Hello, it's lovely to meet you and be on your
Lovely
show.
to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh, how I wish I could say to you that I was coming over to see you in Barbados.
Well, I've got my bling on for you.
How wonderful. That's what we like. You look gorgeous. Thank you so much. Janice, I have to say before we even start, the painting behind you is exquisite. What is that painting?
Island of Shells, and she's I've been coming to the Caribbean for nearly 40 years, and one thing that hits you is their curvaceous figures.
Yes.
The women, no matter how big or small, they have this amazing botsy.
Yes.
And just their stature is proud, you know.
Yes.
You very rarely see a West Indian woman slouching.
Yes, it's very true, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
Very upright.
Very true.
Yeah, it's great. My brush automatically goes into curves.
Yeah. Well, that's not such a bad thing. Not such a bad thing. Janice, your life has been incredible. I mean, when I say internationally acclaimed, we mean that. You've got pictures hanging all over the world, and including the White House, haven't you? So tell us about that.
Well, that was many years ago, and I got some paintings in London, and I got a phone call to say that, did you know 2 pictures of yours have just been purchased by the White House for the White House? So I was very excited, and they were 2 English landscapes. One was an autumn scene, and one was a spring scene. Yes.
So something completely different then to what you're doing now, the paintings you're doing now.
Yes, I mean, I used to be known for my English landscapes and my floral paintings. I love painting flowers, and I still enjoy painting floral paintings because here you've got lots of beautiful flowers in the Caribbean.
Yes.
But my work changed a bit when I did art therapy. I taught painting to psychiatric patients in a psychiatric hospital near me, and I used to have my lunch with a Barbadian chap.
Oh, is that? I was going to ask you. Yeah. So that's how you got the connection and decided to come to be in Barbados, presumably.
Yeah, we had a chat, and he said, "I love your paintings, Janice, but you should get to the Caribbean and it'd be an explosion of colour." And it was. I started, my first Caribbean island was Jamaica.
Wonderful island.
Yeah, and it's very, very different, Jamaica. Very mountainous, wild. The people are gutsy but lovable, great personalities. And you've got the Duns River Falls, you've got that amazing cascade waterfall going through the mountains. And you can actually walk up the waterfall. So it's amazing.
So, but Barbados it was for you, and that's how you started. Because now, you know, going right the way back, and when you were younger, Janice, you suffer from very severe rheumatoid arthritis, don't you?
Yes, I did.
So, how old were you when that was diagnosed?
Well, prior to my illness, I was a very active child. I was in the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. Love bandaging people up and getting myself into trouble. I was never still, I was never home. And suddenly, at the age of 10, I started with severe pain in my legs and my arms, and I started walking very flat-footed. It was a bit of a nightmare, and within months, I was whipped off to hospital, and I never saw the outside world for a year. It was horrendous, really.
And was that in Manchester? Were you in Manchester Hospital?
Yes, I was in Pendlebury Children's Hospital.
Wow, yes. That must have been such a shock to you and your parents. I mean,
it was like being in prison, because it was a Victorian hospital. They've now demolished it, but they've kept the front of it. It was not an ideal hospital, but it was the best at the time. My professor that looked after me, Professor Gaisford, was a wonderful man. And when he travelled, he always wrote letters to me, and I've still got the letters.
Oh, how lovely is that?
I've still kept the letters, and it meant a lot to me to get his letters. It was very it was very hard because I came from a very loving family, great sense of humour, to a life in hospital, not being able to get out of bed because I couldn't walk. My bones just seized up.
So was it your whole body?
Yes.
Did it affect your whole body?
I was the lucky one. I got acute Still's disease. I didn't get a mild version. I had to have the best. Like everything in life, I have to have the best.
We shouldn't be laughing, but we have to laugh our way through all these terrible things.
There's got to be some black humour in there,
yes,
because you need
absolutely.
it. You need it.
So now, when you were 10, that all happened. So you stayed in the hospital for a year. Then
for a year and a half it was.
Okay.
A year and a half.
Okay.
Yes.
And then was that when you discovered painting, Janice? Was that?
Well, yes. I had to learn to use my arms again, and I didn't have the strength in my body, so the nurses propped me up with lots of pillows. But I collared this nurse one morning because I knew there was a cupboard down the bottom of the ward that she had a key to it, and there was lots of craft things in there. So I said I actually said a prayer to God to give me a special gift, because I wasn't any good. I wasn't going to be a sports person anymore. That was over. And even at that early age, I knew that I would never run again. And I said a little prayer, and then I suddenly got this urge to paint. And I asked this nurse, can you go to that cupboard down the bottom of the ward and find me some paints, please? I want to paint. Well, she was so excited. She ran down the ward and got the paints and the brushes and everything and set me up, propped me up with all these pillows. And I am right-handed, but I had to use my left hand, and I started to paint. My first painting was a picture of a Hawaiian girl, and it had a beautiful garland of flowers around her neck. So I had a vision of living in the tropics even then. It was a dream.
That's a very unusual painting, Janice, for you to be,
yes.
to be painting whilst in a hospital. I thought you were going to say, you painted a house or some trees or a face.
Straight in.
Yes.
Straight in for the kill. I'd love to know if anybody's listening to this program, if they've got that Hawaiian girl.
Well, I was just about to ask you, do you still have that painting? But was that sold?
No,
or did you?
It's sold. Yeah. It was my first painting to sell at £28 sterling.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, and it was a lot of money then.
Let's hope somebody who's watching the program would, if wouldn't that be wonderful if we connect with that person? That would be incredible.
Yes.
And then there, really, Janice, so you left hospital, but the rheumatoid arthritis has stayed with you for the rest of your life, hasn't it?
Yes. I've had a life in and out of hospital. It's never gone away. But yes, go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, people misunderstand, don't they, the effects that rheumatoid arthritis has on someone's life, because it is very debilitating. So it's something that you have to learn to live with, really. You probably have good days and bad days, and I should imagine that lovely Barbados sunshine does it very well.
Yes, it does. It's really good for me. But, it's learning to live with this disability that's hard, because there's a lot of things I can't do for myself. I can paint pictures. I don't have a problem with that. But the logistics of everyday life, I have to have help. And that's quite challenging at times, because inside I want to go running and do all the other things that other people do. But it's just not, not to be. And so you pick up the pieces, and I'm grateful for the things that I do. And I'm a painter, I'm an artist. And I had this dream to be an international artist, and that's what I am.
And that's what you are, and you are indeed. I mean, you've had incredible work, as I say, all over the world. You've met Prince Charles, so Prince Charles is obviously a fan of your work. James Hewitt. So what was it like meeting them?
James Hewitt's a character, actually. He came to my exhibition in London. I had an exhibition at Will's Art Warehouse, and the Marquis of Bath came as well. He's huge. He's he's dead now, sadly.
Yes.
But he's very, very tall. And I got invited to Longleat for afternoon tea. And it was great. I was invited to his penthouse first, and I had to go around the back of Longleat, and the lady showed me the lift, and that lift goes up to Lord Bath's penthouse.
Yes.
So up I went in the lift, and everything was painted dark blue. Everything.
Really?
So you went up in the lift, and it was a very old-fashioned lift, like a scissor lift, you know, door.
Yes, I know. Yes, the door.
Creaks and everything. And then as soon as the door opened, this tall figure of a man, like a Viking king, just flung his arms open and said, "Welcome to my humble abode." And and he invited me in, and his accommodation was very modest. Yeah. His kitchen was all painted dark blue with a few tins of baked beans off the shelf.
Isn't that strange?
And his desk was full of monkey nuts. There was monkey nuts everywhere. And he said, "Oh, make yourself feel at home, you know, sit anywhere." Well, the assistant I was with at the time, my partner then, he asked him to sit in this chair, and it was a battery-operated chair, you know, a stimulating chair, and it clamped his legs. He couldn't get out of it. And he was too polite to say anything, but
what lovely memories.
Yeah, Marcus left him there laughing. He was laughing. It was really funny.
Oh, but you've obviously got, well, clearly, Janice, got a lovely sense of humour and a very positive attitude to life. Yeah. But what made you decide to, you know, permanently reside in Barbados? Was it just the sunshine and the fact it's very good for your rheumatoid arthritis, or was it the love of the painting, you know, the Asian women and the flowers and everything else?
Yes, it's lovely to paint West Indian women, and I do paint men, and men get in my paintings sometimes. Very muscular ones with slim waists. That's the typical, you know, West Indian man. Yes. They've got amazing physiques.
Yes.
I've never had a West Indian boyfriend, but yes. So when I bought my gallery here, it was very disturbing. I didn't know where to put my easel, because every time I glanced over, there was the panoramic view of the sea. And it's a bit, you know, you want to go out.
Yes.
I think, no, Janice, come on, you've got to discipline yourself and really work at what you do best. And that's what I do best in my life, is painting. And I have a love for painting. And when I teach art, I always tell my students, paint from the heart, you know, have a passion for what you're doing, and the painting will work out, you know. Set your palette, your colours. Don't be afraid of colour, and that's how I paint.
Yeah,
I draw with my paintbrush.
They're full of colour. Your paintings, Janice.
They are.
What's one of your favourite colours? Are they the blues?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the blues and yellows. I just finished a piece called Echoes of the Sea last season, and that's now in London. And it was funny, actually. She was a client of mine, and she just contacted me before I left the island, and she said, "Have you got anything new? I've got my new place now, and I want one of your Caribbean women on the beach." Anyway, I said, "Well, I've just finished this one." So I sent her the image, and she bought it.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, Janice, your paintings have been in Saatchi galleries, you know.
Yes.
Some of them have sold for up to $250,000 US. You know, how does that make you feel, Janice, when you paint something? Are you thinking that, or do you just continually paint? How does it come to you?
I don't think of the money. I've never thought of the money. But you have to believe in your work, so that other people want to purchase it.
Of course.
They believe in you, and that's so important. You know, I love what I do. I love being an artist. I love being creative. It started off as therapy in hospital, and I just knew then that that's what I wanted to do. And I've also, I see it as a God-given gift, my painting. And I've done a lot of fundraising for various charities, and even Alcoholics Anonymous I did one for.
Well, that's lovely, though. And in fact, you're the ambassador, aren't you, for the Haven in London?
Yes.
It's a wonderful charity that helps creatives helps creative people, musicians, and anybody, creative artists alike. And
well, yeah, I mean,
is that something important to you, Janice? Is that something very important to you?
Well, yes, because we are what makes the world tick. I don't want to sound arrogant there, but we bring beauty into other people's lives. You know, that's so important. And music, art, poetry. I get people writing poems and sending them to me. I'm on the computer quite a lot, trying to answer, you know, questions on the poetry, and so some write some beautiful poems.
Yeah, that's lovely. And you talked about your therapy. Now that was something that was quite important to you, wasn't it? You started, obviously you painted yourself, and that was your therapy, but you now continue to offer that therapy to other artists, both in the UK and in Barbados. Is that right?
Yeah, I've taught over here. Nothing more wonderful than teaching little children here.
Imagine.
They're so cute.
Yeah. But they're gorgeous.
They want to put the paint everywhere. And one little girl, she just dabbed her hands in red paint and said, "Look, Miss Brock, I've got red hands." And she came running toward me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Wants to wipe her hands.
Honestly though, Janice, the pictures with the little children and with girls with the braided hair, they're absolutely gorgeous. And you almost want to reach out and touch them. How you paint them, they look so incredibly real. And I know that's one of your passions, isn't it? You like to paint the girls.
I love hair. I love painting hair. I just finished a nude painting for a lady. It was a commission, and it was great to do her hair. You know, but Afro hair is something else. I mean, they never have the same hairstyle.
No, I know.
One day after the next. And you can say, you know, like to my housekeeper, "I really like that hairstyle of yours. Stay like that." And she doesn't. She'll change it.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
We could do that.
Feels very soft, you know, Afro hair. It's like cotton wool. It's very, very soft. Yeah, it's spongy.
Clearly, you've got, you know, you've fallen in love with the island. How many years have you been there?
17 years.
17 years.
Oh no, beg your pardon, 40 years.
40?
It was 70 years having this gallery, yes.
Right. So you've got the gallery, as I say, in St James in Barbados.
Yes, in Barbados.
And then you've got the gallery, obviously in Cheshire. Is that where you're from, Janice? Is that
I was born in Manchester, hence the accent. You probably noticed.
You can't get rid of that.
I can't get away from that.
Why would you?
It's like pronouncing Lord Bath or Lord Bath.
No, it sounds fine. It sounds fine. But you've also, not only have you painted, and you've got an extremely, you know, celebrity clientele, I must admit. But is there anybody that you're painting for at the moment that someone we know of that you can?
Been asked to do another portrait nude painting, but I'm putting that on hold for a little while. I have plans for doing other things with my art in London, so that's good. So lots of things evolve. And of course, I'm going to be doing some fundraisings and support with Backtrack, a charity for injured soldiers. And that sort of
wonderful. Is that based in the UK or based?
Yes, that would be London. Yes.
Fantastic. And then also you're ambassador for the Haven, so presumably you're doing work for them as well. And you know,
I had a function, but we had to put it on hold because of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Everything's on hold because of COVID.
It is.
Yes.
I think we're all going to explode, you know, when we've got the freedom.
There's going to be one massive party. That's all I have to say. But now you've also written a book. So, well, this is not your first book, actually, but your penned autobiography, this one, isn't it?
Yes.
So tell us about that. My Life on Canvas, that one's called.
Yes, that's my life story, how I started to paint. It has 200 images of my paintings in the book, and it's very colourful. Yeah, it's lovely. And my editor, Catherine Mason, it was funny how I met her, actually. She bought one of my paintings and she was over here. She's a very good writer, and she invited me to afternoon tea. They do a lot of that over here.
I'm coming over. I said, I'm coming over for afternoon tea.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Ladies who lunch.
Ladies do lunch, that's it. Ladies who do afternoon tea.
Yeah, I had to slot it in.
Yes.
And
Isn't that wonderful though?
Well, she's it's sometimes very difficult when you're very busy, you know.
Yeah, because when you're in the moment, Janice, when you sort of wake up, do you wake up and suddenly think, you know, I'm going to paint today, and then I'm assuming, because most creatives are the same, you become very self-absorbed, don't you?
Yes.
And you don't really want to do anything else apart from paint.
I know, you don't notice the hours going by because you're just constantly producing something creative, which is great. Yeah, and anyway, I was at this lunch with my editor, and she took the book on. You know, she was really lovely.
That's good.
She said, I'll edit it for you. But she said, actually, you're a very good writer. It just needs tweaking. Otherwise, this book is going to be huge. I didn't know when to stop.
And it's out now, though, so people can buy that now.
Yes, they can buy it on my website.
Yes.
And they can buy it here, but it's probably better to buy it in UK.
Yes.
So my website. What my website?
Yes, we'll put it up, but please, tell everybody what your website is.
Yeah, it's www.janicesylviabrock.com.
That's wonderful.
And they can link up with me and organise a signed copy of the book.
That would be great. I'm sure people would love that, Janice. That's so good. Thank you. And I mean, your paintings that you've just started to do, they're very different. There's a slight Picasso feel about them.
Yes, yeah.
You're a big Picasso fan?
I love Picasso.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I like his work.
They are very minimalist, but they speak volumes.
And I noticed that about your work. It's this particular set of paintings were very much like that. It was very, you know, the woman's face, the vase, the flower. Was that something you did on purpose, Janice? Did that sort of come to you?
Well, it evolved from. I don't want to sound depressive here, but when my mum died, I then started painting these minimalist faces. And they're really quite beautiful. And people that had been buying my West Indian work are now buying those as well. So they buy both. And I remember one client in Boston, he's a surgeon, and he'd been studying my work for 6 years and decided to walk through the studio doors here. And he said, I've come to buy 2 paintings. And he bought a curvaceous woman called Venus, my West Indian work. And I love painting chiffon, see-through chiffon blowing in the breeze. I love movement. My work is full of movement. And then I did one called A Comforter, which was depicting the love for my mother and myself together. And I actually cried when I parted with that painting. It really pulled at the heartstrings. And he said, and that's why I'm buying it. And I was in 2 minds whether to say, no, you can't have it. It was like a tug of war emotionally, letting that painting go. But do you regret letting that painting go? Yes. I mean, there are paintings I regret parting with. But, you know, my gift is to share with others. And it's lovely that other people enjoy my work as much as I enjoy painting it. So he gets a lot of joy out of it. And he has a very large collection of my work. So.
That's lovely, Janice. And is there anybody that you would like to paint for, or anybody, or anywhere where you'd like one of your pictures to be hung?
Yeah, I think I would like to paint somebody. Well, I would have liked to have painted Einstein with his mad hairdo.
Yes. Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah, I would like to paint.
Can you just hold still, please?
Yes.
He would have been so wonderful to paint.
Yeah. Yes. There are lots of people I'd like to paint.
Will you stay in Barbados, or will you just continue to spend your time going between?
Well, I'd like to get over to California.
Yes.
I'd like a working studio there. I've also got a dream plan in my mind for a documentary for India. And my brother died quite young. So I would like to follow his footsteps where he went. He kept a diary, and I would like to paint the places, like, for example, the Taj Mahal. I would do a painting of that, and I'd do a painting of other places, and then donate the paintings to raise money for a worthy cause. So we had a producer interested in promoting that, and then COVID harboshed it. So missed the slot on that.
Yes, but never mind. You know, think that might change now. So, was your brother living in India? Is that where he lived?
He travelled India, travelled Asia, and then he died shortly after that. But he was a lovely guy, and he was a musician as well, as an architect. And he taught me a lot about how to look at buildings. And one of the things that absolutely blew his mind was the Taj Mahal. So I have to go to the Taj Mahal.
Yes, hopefully we'll be out of this, and we can all fly to these wonderful places again.
Yes.
And then just before I leave you, Janice, you've got an exhibition coming up, haven't you, in the Gallery 19 in London?
Yes.
Now, tell us about that. How do people get to see? I know it's appointment only, isn't it, that particular exhibition?
Yes, they would have to contact me through my website, or my email address.
Okay. Which we'll put up your website again, so don't worry. So
yes.
You.
Or my PR lady, Melanie Falder.
Yes.
She's really lovely.
Yes.
And,
yes. So
they can get in touch.
And what sort of pictures are going to be there? Is it a collection of your latest work and some old, some new?
Yes, my nudes. I do a lot of nudes, you know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Actually, I've never ever painted something that's rude. You know what I mean? They've always been elegant, my nudes. And I remember the first exhibition I had was in Withington Library many moons ago. And this lady, and it looked beautiful, and I'd got nudes in there. And this lady came into the gallery and ran out into the streets. Don't go in there. There's nudes on those walls, and they're awful. Well, the exhibition was a huge success. So
I was going to say,
if you're out there, thank you very much for doing that. That was the start of my career exhibiting in galleries. And she did me a favour. You know, you just turn it on its head, don't you?
It's funny, isn't it, how things like that happen, and that obviously that became to be a good thing. Well, you know, your career is going to continue, Janice. There's no doubt about that. Painting is very beautiful, and you know, I'm sorry, but we have to leave you now. But thank you so much for joining me, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you. And you know, when I'm next in Barbados, I'm going to come and see you for sure, and we can have afternoon tea.
Afternoon tea between the pitons.
Would that be lovely?
Yes, quite.
Thank you so much, Janice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me on your show.
You're very welcome. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please come and join me again next week, where I'll be having another exciting guest for you to see. But for now, I'll love and leave you, and take care and be safe. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.